Behind every royal headline, there's a hidden truth. The world is watching The Crown once again. This is Golden Crown Insider, where royal secrets become headlines. Today we are telling the story of the most expensive trap in Hollywood history. A trap that was not set by enemies. Not by the palace. Not by the press. Not by any of the people Harry and Meghan have spent years blaming for their problems. This trap was built by Harry and Meghan themselves. Brick by brick. Deal by deal. Interview by interview. And right now, in 2026, they are sitting inside it. And the walls are closing in. This is the story of how the California dream became the California trap. And why the couple, who left everything to find freedom, may have built themselves the most gilded cage in modern history. Subscribe right now if you are new here. Hit that bell. Because this story connects dots that nobody else is lining up for you today. Let's go back to January 2020. The announcement that shocked the world. Harry and Meghan step back from royal duties. They want privacy. They want normalcy. They want to live on their own terms, free from the palace machine, free from the press, free from the suffocating weight of royal expectation. And honestly, at that moment, the world understood. The pressure they described was real. The pain they talked about was real. And the desire to build something new, something theirs, something authentic, that felt real too. And then came the deals. In September 2020, Netflix signed Harry and Meghan to a deal estimated at $100 million. The same year, Spotify signed them to an exclusive podcasting partnership worth a reported $20 million. Before Netflix, there had been conversations with Apple, Disney, and NBC Universal. The couple were, as multiple sources described them at the time, the hottest property in Hollywood. IMDb $100 million. $20 million. The hottest property in Hollywood. These are not the words of a couple retreating into private life. These are the words of a couple stepping directly into the center of the most competitive, most scrutinized, most ruthlessly results-driven industry on earth. And that decision, that single, enormous, consequential decision, is where the trap was first built. Because here is the thing about Hollywood that nobody tells you when the contracts are being signed and the champagne is flowing. Hollywood does not care who you used to be. It does not care about your titles, your bloodline, your royal wedding watched by 2 billion people. Hollywood cares about one thing and one thing only. Can you deliver? Can you produce content that people actually want to watch? Can you justify the investment, not once, not twice, but consistently, reliably, deal after deal after deal? And for Harry and Meghan, that question has been answered. Loudly. Publicly. Painfully. The Spotify deal collapsed in 2023. $20 million. One partnership. 12 episodes of Meghan's Archetypes podcast, which was genuinely well received, and then nothing. The deal ended. And when it ended, Spotify's head of talk strategy Bill Simmons did not stay quiet. On his own podcast, he called Harry and Meghan, and these are his exact words, the effing grifters. He added that nobody cares what they have to say about anything unless they talk about the royal family and complain about them. Time the effing grifters. From the man who had just paid them $20 million. That is not a casual opinion. That is a verdict from inside the deal itself. And former UTA CEO Jeremy Zimmer was equally blunt, saying at an industry conference, "Turns out Meghan Markle was not a great audio talent, or necessarily any kind of talent. Just because you are famous does not make you great at something." News 24 Now those words are harsh. They are arguably unfair. Meghan is clearly intelligent, clearly driven, clearly capable of building something meaningful. But the point Zimmer was making, the point that Hollywood insiders were making across multiple conversations, was something more fundamental than a talent assessment. It was a business assessment. And the business verdict was becoming clear. The Sussex brand had a ceiling. And that ceiling had a name. The royal family. One insider with knowledge of the Netflix deal put it this way: do people want content from them unless it is revealing something extraordinary about themselves, or the British royals? I do not know how much more they can reveal. Time, that is the trap in one sentence. The only content that has ever truly worked for Harry and Meghan, the documentary, the Oprah interview, the book Spare, has been content about leaving the royal family. About the pain. About the accusations. About the life they left behind. Every time, they have tried to move away from that story, into lifestyle content, into activism, into entertainment, the numbers have told the same story. People are not interested in Harry and Meghan the California couple. They are interested in Harry and Meghan the royal rebels. And you cannot be a royal rebel forever. Eventually, you run out of new revelations. Eventually, the palace stops reacting. Eventually, the story that made you famous becomes the only story you have, and you have already told it 3 times. By March 2026, Variety was reporting what insiders had been whispering for months. Netflix had divested from Meghan's lifestyle brand as ever. Sources described the mood inside Netflix about Harry and Meghan in 3 words. We are done. Their bedside manner had reportedly ruffled feathers in meetings. Lackluster ratings for With Love, Meghan had led to serious doubts about the future of the partnership. And the pattern of what one insider called selling repackaged versions of the same story had exhausted the streamer. Woman and home, we are done. From the platform that paid them $100 million. From the partnership that was supposed to be their Hollywood launchpad. From the deal that the entire world watched them sign with enormous fanfare just 5 years ago. Now let's talk about the money. Because this is the part of the story that makes the trap feel most real. Most suffocating. Most inescapable. Harry and Meghan's Montecito mansion cost $14.65 million. Maintaining that property, the security, the staff, the upkeep, costs enormous amounts every year. Sources estimate the couple need to generate tens of millions of dollars annually just to sustain their current lifestyle. The documentary made around $20 million. Spare made Harry an estimated $15 million. Those were one-time payments. Not ongoing income streams. Time, and here is the brutal mathematics of the trap. To maintain the lifestyle that they use to project the image of independence and success, they need constant income. To generate that income, they need deals. To get deals, they need to stay relevant. To stay relevant, they need attention. To get attention, they need to keep talking about the royal family. But every time they talk about the royal family, they burn more bridges, generate more legal threats, and give more ammunition to the people who say they cannot move on. Round and round. Forever. 2 sources confirmed to Variety that Netflix's divestment from the As Ever brand had actually been in the works since the previous autumn, quietly decided months before any public announcement. Around the same time, Meghan hired an independent brand consultant who had previously worked with Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop, a move that several sources interpreted as a clear signal that Netflix had already internally made its decision and Meghan was preparing to operate without them. Woman and home preparing to operate without Netflix. 5 years ago, that sentence would have seemed impossible. Today, it is the reality that Art Jewell is navigating. And then there is Harry. Because in all the conversation about Meghan's brand and Netflix and lifestyle content, Harry's own position inside this story has become something genuinely difficult to watch. The man who left the military, who left his country, who left his family to escape media pressure, is now, according to sources, constantly online. Reading everything written about him. Getting pulled into every wave of commentary and speculation. Surrounded not by the military friends and childhood companions who knew him before all of this, but by PR teams, media advisors, brand strategists, and celebrity connections whose relationships are tied not to who Harry is, but to what Harry represents. That shift, from a genuine inner circle to a professional support structure, is one of the quieter losses in this story. And it matters. Because when everyone around you has a stake in maintaining the current narrative, the one thing you lose most easily is the ability to hear the truth. The truth that the deals are not working the way they were supposed to. The truth that Hollywood has quietly moved on. The truth that the story of leaving the royal family, however real, however painful, however important, has a limited shelf life as content. And that shelf life is expiring. Now, and this is important, none of this means Harry and Meghan are finished. Not by a long shot. Meghan is building as ever independently. There are still 2 scripted features in development at Netflix. The Invictus Games continues to do genuinely important work. And Harry's memoir and documentary work reached audiences in the hundreds of millions. These are not the numbers of failure. But they are the numbers of a brand that is plateauing. Of a couple that entered Hollywood at the absolute peak of their cultural moment, and is now navigating what happens when that moment passes. And the most honest question that this story asks, the one that nobody in Montecito wants to sit with, is whether any of it was ever truly about freedom. Or whether, in leaving one institution that defined their identity, Harry and Meghan simply walked into another one. One that pays better. One that has better weather. But one that comes with its own demands, its own pressures, its own impossible expectations, and its own very clear verdict when you fail to deliver. The palace never needed to do anything. It never needed to strip titles or issue decrees or fight back publicly. It just needed to wait. Because the California dream, the one Harry and Meghan built with such conviction and such hope and such certainty that they were choosing something better, contained its own undoing from the very first contract. You cannot sell your freedom. And you cannot build independence on a foundation of deals that require you to keep being who you were trying to escape. That is the hidden truth today. The trap was always there. They just could not see it until the walls started closing. If this video hit different, give it a thumbs up right now. Share it with someone who needs to hear the full picture. And if you have not yet subscribed to Golden Crown Insider, do it now. Every single day we bring you the truth behind the royal headlines. The stories the palace and Hollywood both hope you never fully connect. This is Golden Crown Insider. And we will see you in the next one.